Hi and welcome to our new lesson for Mathematics 5. So we are now at quarter 3 and this will be our first lesson for the third quarter. So welcome to our math enthusiasts out there, to everyone who loves math, okay, as their subject. So for this week we're going to have double bar and line graphs. So we have here our learning target. We have our learning competency collects data pairs from interview, questionnaire, and other appropriate sources, and identify the appropriate graph to represent a given set of data. So for day one, let's have a short review. So we can see here a graph, okay, wherein teacher Jonalyn made a survey from or among 100 first year students as to their favorite sports. The results are as follows. So we have here our legend. So one basketball is equivalent to 5. Okay, one volleyball is equivalent to 5 and one football is equivalent to 5. So we can see for the sports basketball, we have 5 basketballs, which means it is equivalent to 25. For female, only 2 basketballs, so it is equivalent to 10. For volleyball, 2 volleyball for male, which is equivalent to 10. And for female, we can see 6 volleyballs, so which is equivalent to 30. For football, we have 3 football for male, which is equivalent to 15, and 1 football for female, which is equivalent to 5. Okay, so now let's answer the following questions. So let's digest the graph. So how many female students love playing volleyball? So we have 30 female students who loves playing volleyball. How many male students love playing football? So we have 15 male students. Number 3, how many students love basketball? So 35 students. Okay, so which sport is the most favorite? So we have volleyball. Okay, and how many female students love football? So we have 5 female students. Okay, so all right. So this is the answer to the questions that we had a while ago. All right. So now we will learn how to gather data pairs. Okay, that means two related pieces of information. So from interviews, survey, questionnaires, and other sources. So you'll also learn when to use a bar graph and when to use a line graph to represent the data you have collected. So, but before we begin, let's have a short recall. So, do you still remember what data means? Okay, for some, they call it data. Okay, for others, they call it data. Okay, so what is data or data? Okay, it is a collection of information gathered by observations, measurements, research, or analysis. So ito daw ay koleksyon ng mga impormasyon na nakuha mula o batay sa mga obserbasyon, sa mga pagsusukat, sa mga pananaliksik at sa iba pang mga pag-aanalisa. They may consist of facts, numbers, names, figures, or even description of things. Ito daw ay maaring magkaroon o maglaman ng mga katotohanan, mga bilang, mga pangalan, mga figura at maging mga description ng mga bagay. So data is organized in the form of charts, tables, or graphs. So ang mga data or data ay inorganisa sa pamamagitan ng mga charts, talahanayan, or tables, or graphs. So mas madaling nauunawaan, mas madaling naaanalisa ang mga impormasyon na nakolekta na tinatawag nating data kapag ito ay inilagay natin sa pamamagitan o gamit ang mga charts, tables, at graphs. Okay, so we have here table, grades in math and science of 10 students. So we have student 1 to student 10. We have their different grades in math and in science. Okay, now let's answer some questions. So how do you think you can get this information? So you can get this information by interviewing or giving a survey or questionnaire. So mas madali na nga ngayon kasi gumagamit na tayo ng internet or wifi. Mas nagiging madali yung pagkalap natin ng information because of or because of the help of technology, mas madali lang, magpapasa ka lang ng Google Forms or Microsoft Forms at makakakuha ka na ng kinakailangan mong mga impormasyon. Okay, so letter B, describe the information shown in the table. So answer, it is about the grades in math and science of 10 students. Letter C, where did you refer or base your answer in letter B? So from the title of the table. Okay, so how do you describe a student, okay, in the table, and what values are you going to use? So students can be described through their grades in math or science. So for example, student 1 got 89 in math and science. So based doon sa mga nakalagay sa ating table, ay makakagawa na tayo, no? Mabibigyan natin ng description. Halimbawa, ilan ba sa kanila ang nakakuha ng 90 and above na grade sa math? Ilan din sa kanila ang nakakuha ng 85 pababa sa science? So by means of those information, we can derive, okay, some information. Okay, pwede nating describe, no, batay doon sa talahan na yan or sa table na nakita natin kanina. Pwede natin maging basis yon, no, ng pag-aaral. Okay, so now let's unlock our content area vocabulary. So again, data or data is a collection of information gathered by observations, measurements, research, or analysis. They may consist of facts, numbers, names, figures, or even description of things. Data or data is organized in the form of charts, tables, or graphs. Okay, so now, data collection or data collection. It refers to the methods used to collect data or data from different sources of a particular purpose. Okay, so paano ba yung ginagawa nating paraan para mangolekta tayo ng mga impormasyon, okay, batay sa iba-iba nating mga pinagkukunan o yung ating sources. At ito ay nakabatay din kung ano ba yung ating dahilan, ano ba yung ating layunin sa pagkuha ng mga impormasyon na ito. Saan ba natin ito gagamitin? Gagamitin mo ba ito sa isang pag-aaral o pananaliksik para lalong mag-improve, okay, yung isang sistema? Or kukunin mo lang yung mga impormasyon na kailangan mo para makita mo yung resulta, halimbawa, ng isang bagong sistema, bagong programa, o isang bagay na tinest mo kung ito ba ay matagumpay o hindi. Okay, so syempre nagkakaiba-iba depende sa ating layunin at dahilan kung saan natin gagamitin ang impormasyon. Okay, so now we have data pairs or data pairs, or set of paired observations or measurements collected such as ages and weights of children or hours studied and test scores of students. Ano ba? Maaring ang mga ito ay may kaugnayan, maaari din namang wala. Okay, so ito yung kanilang nais na tuklasin kung bakit may mga ganito silang mga hinihinging impormasyon. Halimbawa, ang edad ba ng bata ay may kinalaman sa kanyang weight? Dapat ba magkaugnay o yung kanyang height and weight batay sa kanyang edad? So, dapat ganun, di ba? Yung mga doktor, lagi nilang chinecheck kung yung, di ba tayo, halimbawa kapag kinukuhanan kayo ng BMI sa school, laging nakikita doon, sino-sino ba yung mga estudyante na wasted? Sino ba yung mga estudyante na normal ang weight at height? Sino ba yung mga severely wasted? So, ginagamit nila yung pagkolekta, no, ng mga data or information ng weight at height ng isang bata o ng isang estudyante para malaman kung normal ba ang kanyang timbang, kailangan niya bang kasama ba siya sa SBFP, sa feeding program ng school, or kailangan niya halimbawang magbawas ng timbang kasi overweight naman or obese. And then, maaari din halimbawa kasama dito yung gaano ba katagal, nakakaapekto ba yung tagal ng pag-aaral sa resulta ng score niya sa kanyang exam. May epekto ba ito? O halimbawa, gaano katagal ang inilalaan ng isang bata sa pagse-cellphone, sa pagtulog, at sa kanyang pag-aaral? Nakakaapekto ba to sa kanyang pag-aaral? Diba? So, yun po yung ating data pair. So, pwedeng yung dalawang data, okay, ay kinukuha natin para tingnan natin ang pwede natin itong pagbatayan ng description, okay? Pwedeng pagkuhanan ito ng resulta rin o ng mga panibagong resulta yan ng ating mga nais tuklasin. Okay, so next we have subtopic 1, collects data pairs or bivariate from interview, questionnaire, and other appropriate sources. Okay, so to collect data pairs, it is needed to design a data collection method that involves gathering information on two variables simultaneously kasi pwedeng dalawa kaagad na impormasyon yung makukuha natin. Yung iba nga sabay-sabay pa, tatlo, apat, para isang bagsakan lang. Okay, pero yun yung ginagamit na sa research. Okay, but for starters like you, okay, pwedeng dalawa muna na information na ating sabay na kuhanin. So now we have here few approaches to collect data pairs. Ano ba yung maaari nating gawin para makapag-collecta tayo ng information? So first is interviews. Okay, interview is a structured conversation where one participant asks questions and the other provides answers. It is where you ask participants questions about two data. During the interview, record the responses for both data. So for example, interview individuals about their daily exercise habits and their stress level. So ito yung pinaka-basic, pinaka-madali, okay, before, no? Pinaka-madali to before. Lalo na nung hindi pa ganoon ka bilis, hindi pa nauuso si Google Forms, okay, hindi pa nauuso yung polls, 'di ba? Or vote doon sa, for example, sa Messenger, pwede ka mag-create ng polls, 'di ba? Pwede mong makuha doon kung sino yung agree or disagree. So for interview, you have to have a face-to-face encounter with a person, okay, with a student or with your fellow classmate, with the teacher, and asking them questions, okay, about two data. So yung binigay na example dito is paano ba yung ginagawang exercise? Ano ba yung exercise na ginagawa araw-araw at yung kanilang stress levels. So pag nasa-stress ba sila, nag-exercise sila, or kapag tumataas yung stress level nila, ay nadadagdagan ba yung oras ng kanilang pag-exercise. So interview, structured conversation ito, wherein you are trying to ask questions and they will provide you the answers. Okay, so minsan 1 to 5 questions ito, naka-ready na. Pwede mo itong ibigay sa kanila beforehand para mapaghandaan nila yung kanilang sagot. Okay, so iba ambush interview, pero ang ambush interview is more on reporting side na siya. But then if you are trying to collect data, so mas maganda kapag you can, especially kapag recorded, hindi ba, yung interview. So pwedeng ibigyan mo muna sila ng copy. Okay, ask permission if it is okay for them to be interviewed, and then give them the copy of the questions that they would answer. Okay, and then record, of course, the responses for both data. Next, we have questionnaire. So, it consists of set of questions to collect information from a respondent. So, ito na dati, they use the traditional pen and paper. Diba? Magbibigay tayo ng photocopy ng questionnaires natin, okay, to our target respondents. But for now, lalo na kung maramihan at gusto mo talaga makagather ng maraming responses, they would just ask you, okay, for example, a school, if they could send a Google form asking them to partake with the with their study. Okay, so you can call that their e-questionnaire. Okay, so e-survey. So a survey or a questionnaire that includes questions related to data of interest. So participants can provide responses for both data in the same survey form. So usually yung mga 5 items to 10 items, ang dami na nga ng 10, usually 5 items na. So for example, you could survey about their age and their level of satisfaction with their stay in the school. So usually, after an event or program, you can have a quick survey or question, okay, or questionnaire. Are they satisfied with the program that happened in the school recently? Okay, ano ba yung kanilang napansin? What are the good points? What are the not so good points? And what are their suggestions? So, for some, tinitingnan lang nila din kung sino ba yung mas maraming nag-participate. Okay, mas marami bang parents? Mas marami bang guests? Okay, and then, kumbaga, for dito naman, dalawa lang naman yung kailangan. So, perhaps they could ask kumbaga kung mas marami ba yung male or female, and then yung age bracket. Okay, mas marami bang dumating na nanay? Mas marami bang dumating na tatay? Mas marami bang dumating na aged 20 years old to 30 years old, or 30 to 40 years old? Something like that. Okay, and of course, other examples of data pairs may be collected using interviewer questionnaires or questionnaire or the following: grades and number of hours spent in studying, grade in math and grade in science, height and weight. Okay, so these are some of the examples na pwede nating kolektahin na magkasabay, no, using a questionnaire, or perhaps you can also use interviews. Okay, so we have here our lesson activity 1. So you're going to survey. Okay, so survey 15 of your classmates using one of the questionnaire below. Then organize the data from the questionnaire and construct a table. So pwede mong gamitin yung first na survey, height and weight. Yung second survey is about how many brothers do you have and how old are you. And the third survey is about how many times do you check your cell phones when you message in an hour, and how many hours do you spend in doing your homework. And then create a table, okay, using that after you have collected those data. Okay, for day 2, we have our subtopic, identify the appropriate graph, okay, which is the bar graph or line graph to represent a given set of data. So what is a bar graph? A bar graph is a graph which uses either horizontal or vertical bars to represent data. The types of bar graph include horizontal bar graph and vertical bar graph. Okay, so we have the horizontal and the vertical bar graph. So the length of a bar represents a quantity. Therefore, bars can be compared by examining the bar lengths. In the vertical bar graph, bars extend from bottom to top, and in the vertical line is the scale of the graph. So mamaya kapag nakakita tayo ng representation, mas madali natin siyang maunawaan. Now, when to use the bar graph? Kailan ba natin gagamitin ang bar graph? Bar graphs are effective for visually representing data or for comparing different categories. So for example, comparing the grades or scores of students in different subjects or classes. So paano ba natin yun makikita? So just by using a legend, and then perhaps, for example, color A, lahat ng test score sa math. Okay, where halimbawa naman red for test scores in math, and then blue test scores in science. Okay, or so you can choose which color do you want. Okay, so for examples, comparing the grades of scores of students in different subjects or classes, displaying the distribution of responses to multiple choice questions. So for example, favorite color, preferred mode of transportation among survey participants. So we have here the sample, okay, of a bar graph, okay, which contains yung survey niya, or it is about the favorite sports. Okay, so yung scale, 1 unit is equal to 5 students. So the number of students we have, okay, so 20. But of course, kada 1 unit is equal to 5 students. So types of sports, golf, tennis, football, rugby, and basketball. So basically, by just looking at this bar graph, we can say na mas marami talaga ang mga students na ang favorite sport ay basketball. And the least one is the golf. So basically, ang pinaka-purpose ni graph is to visually represent, no? Kumbaga, makikita kaagad natin kung ano yung nais niyang i-portray or sabihin sa atin. Na isang tingin mo pa lang, o alam mo na, maraming estudyante na mahilig sa basketball at kakaunti lang ang mahilig sa golf. Okay, at makikita natin na sumunod naman sa basketball ay marami-rami rin ang mga estudyante na nahihilig na sa paglalaro ng football. So just by looking at the graph. Okay, so of course, may corresponding parts, okay, ang ating graph. So we have the title. The title is the favorite sports. So it tells us what the graph is all about. The favorite sports of student. Okay, so horizontal axis or the x-axis at the bottom, we see the types of sports. So these are golf, tennis, football, rugby, and basketball. Okay, so next we have the vertical axis. Okay, So the other one is horizontal, yung x-axis natin. This one is the vertical axis or the y-axis. On the left side, we see the number of students. Okay, so yun yung patayo. Okay, so for the scale says 1 unit is equal to 5 students. So means every step or line in the vertical axis represents 5 students. So for the vertical bars, each colored bar represents the number of students who like a particular sport. So the taller the bar, the more students like that sport. So going back again, we have here the sample. So we can see the horizontal axis. Okay, that is the bottom part wherein you can see the types of sports, and then we have the vertical axis wherein on the left side we see the number of students. So the title, you can also see the scale and then the vertical bars. Now, how many students like basketball? So it's 15 students. Which sport is like with the fewest students? So it is golf. Now, how many students like football? So technically, 12 or around 10 to 12 students. So based on the bar height. Okay, so which two sports are liked by almost the same number of students? So it is tennis and rugby. Now, what can you say about the most and least popular sports? So basketball is the most popular, while golf is the least popular sport. So next we have lesson activity. This okay, we can see on the title teacher responses to changing school starting time. So favor, okay, we have in favor yellow bar, oppose blue bar, and no opinion, okay, is green bar. So these are the categories. And then for the number of teachers, we have 20 number of teachers. Okay, so refer to the graph above in answering the following question. So you can just read. Okay, we have at least 5 questions about that, and we can see also the answers. Okay, so for day 3, let's take a look at a line graph. So what is a line graph? A line graph is a type of graph used to represent changes in data over a period of time. Usually, data are represented by points and are connected by line segments. So in general, the horizontal axis is used as the time axis, and the vertical axis is used to show the changes in the other quantities. So we have here the example of the line graph. So perhaps temperature on the 1st of September. Okay, so on the bottom part, you can see the time from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then on the left side, okay, we can see the temperature. Paano ba, tumataas ba or bumababa ang temperature almost every hour between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, so we have here again some questions, and of course, we also have the answers. Now, when do we use the line graph? So data like changes in population, temperature, and profit can be represented by a line graph. Example, the daily temperature of San Ignacio Elementary School for 7 days to monitor the heat index, so during summer. Now, number of boxes of donuts sold in a week. Okay, population in Pampanga province for the period of 6 years. Pwede rin halimbawa, how many class suspensions for the whole 10 months. So, okay, for June, may class suspension ba? July, August, September. And what are, pwede din nating malaman, bakit napakarami during the month of August and September. So, makikita natin doon. And gaano ba kadami yung total number of suspension of classes within the school year. Okay, now choosing the appropriate graph. So when do we use the bar graph? Best for comparing quantities or categories. Each bar shows the size of amount of something. A double bar graph is used when you compare two sets of data for each category. So for example, comparing the number of male and female students in different grade levels. So for example, kinder to grade 6. How many students, male students, in kinder to grade 6, and how many female students from kinder to grade 6. Now, when do we use the line graph? It is best for showing changes over time or the trends. Points are plotted and connected by lines. A double line graph is used when comparing two related changes over the same period. Okay, and then Example showing the temperature of two cities over several months. Okay, so for example, you're going to compare um, the temperature in the city of Bacoor and the city of Tagaytay, okay, for 2 months or during, for example, December. Gaano ba kalamig sa Tagaytay for the whole month of December at compared to the city of Bacoor for during December. Okay, so for activity 2, okay, you can we have here a graph, donuts sold, okay, number of boxes, okay, in a day. So how many boxes, okay, of donuts are sold on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? Okay, next we have activity 3. For day 4, we have our learners' takeaways and our formative assessment. Okay, so what did you learn? Okay, and what is your reflection on learning? Okay, and the last part will be your formative assessment. So we have, I think, A and B for your formative assessment. Okay, choose between figure 1 and figure 2. Okay, this is for letter B. All right, and it's a wrap. So thank you so much for being with me again, and I hope to see you again in our next video lessons. Okay, and I hope I was able to help you in understanding your lesson for this week. So this is Teacher Isa. Thank you so much for not leaving me and for always watching our videos. So don't forget to subscribe and always click the bell button. So thank you so much. Thank you and bye bye.